Hi everyone, Release Fire here. So just been playing quite a lot of NBA 2K20 and I wanted to talk you through how to dunk. Now this is definitely taken from the standpoint of beginners. So this is to help beginners to work out how to dunk a little bit better, to talk you through the moves that you need to be able to do and to show you where to practice them and kind of how to get better at dunking. Like, it's not an easy thing to do in an actual game, so I'm going to talk you through all of the controls that you need for each of the different dunks, and then I'm going to sort of talk you through how you set up an opportunity to dunk in a game, or at least one of the easiest ways to be able to set that up. So to start with, what you need to do to be able to practice dunks is head on over to the 2KU, which is pretty much just a training facility to help you to work on your moves. And when you get here, you can do one of a couple of things. You can either go into a training game and practice the moves, or you can head on over to the controls, which you can see on the far right hand side, which will show you all of the different moves you can do. However, you can also see these in the actual training game itself, so you don't have to come in here to be able to look at what you need to press to be able to do each of the different dunks. However, if you just want to see all of the moves in one place and it's really easy to access, this is a good place to come. So moving on to the actual dunks themselves. Firstly, you've got the two-handed dunks, and essentially it's all delivered using the two analog sticks. So you want to press them both up and you want to hold down R2 on the PS4 controller or RT on the Xbox One. So once you know how to do the move, it's simply a case of heading on into the training game and just trying to practice a few times, and that's exactly what it looks like. So next up, we've got the dominant or offhand dunk, and this is essentially using the left analog stick to point up and the right analog stick to point either to the right or to the left, dependent on whether or not you want to go dominant or offhand. And as ever, hold down R2 on the PS4, RT on the Xbox One throughout the entire move. And this is essentially what it looks like. So in this case, I'm actually holding right with the analog stick to do a right-handed dunk. Okay, so next up we've got the flashy dunk, and some players will actually do this automatically with any kind of dunk, but essentially you want to press up with the left analog stick and down with the right analog stick while holding R2 or RT. The actual visualization of this will vary dependent on the player, but you can see in this case I did a reverse dunk with Durant. Now things can get a little bit technical when you throw in a Euro step layup leading into a dunk. It can be done, but essentially what you want to do is press forward with the left analog stick, back with the right analog stick when you're further out from the bucket, and you can do that whilst holding down R2 or RT, so long as you're far enough away so that you don't trigger the actual dunk. So then you can do the move, and then as you turn out of the move, you can then go into the dunk itself, which gives you the Euro step dunk to add to your arsenal. Okay, so that's all of the main dunks covered. Now I'm going to talk you through how that translates into a game. Now firstly, what you need to do is to understand the stats of the players on your team. You need to know who can dunk and who can't dunk. Some players cannot dunk, so you might be frustrated because you keep sending the same player up to try to do a dunk and they just don't dunk and they end up doing layups. So it's definitely worth looking at their stats. You also want to identify who on your team has got the best dunk stats, and those are the guys that are going to hit the dunks much more regularly and much easier as you're playing the game. So look at the stats, spend some time working on those, and that will give you a much better ability to be able to understand who can dunk well and who can't dunk well, and that will translate to better dunking in the games itself. The other thing to be aware of is that it's not a good idea to try to force the dunk. If you end up forcing dunks, you'll just end up losing the ball. So try to get yourself into good positions to be able to get a dunk off, and don't worry too much about getting a dunk every time. If it turns out just to be a standard shot, then just take your shot and try to make it count as much as possible. You don't need to dunk every time, because if you do try to, you'll just end up losing games and not getting anywhere. Instead, what you want to do is set things up as early as possible, and the point that that starts is from the defense. The reason for that is that dunks are so much easier to do on the break. So if you can pull off a steal partway through defending, or just pick up the rebound as quickly as possible, then you can get it upfield fast to be able to give yourself a better opportunity to dunk while the other team is still in a bit of disarray like I just did then. So essentially the idea is that if you can get up into the other team's face as much as possible, then you can make it more difficult for them to score when they're attacking. Then you want to either get the rebound or get a steal and get it upfield fast to be able to get the dunk. So that's my beginner's guide to how to dunk. Hopefully it helps you out. If it does, drop me a like below. As ever, it's massively appreciated. You can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already with the links on the left hand side, and hit that bell button if you want to get notifications for all of my videos as they come out. You can check out my shop just below that and the rest of my videos with the links on the right hand side. Leave any comments below and I will catch you next time.